Welcome to the Actor's Choice, where the actors and actresses have a chance to talk about themselves and their careers. Join us now for the next hour as we explore the marvelous industry of acting by actors and actresses from today's exciting show business world. And now, direct from Hollywood, here's your host, Ron Brewington.
Hi, everybody. I'm Ron Brewington, and welcome to the Actor's Choice. Before we get into it, ladies and gentlemen, today is our 401st episode as we start to work on another 400 episodes. That's all I got to say. Thank you for being there with us, supporting with us. We love you dearly. Thank you so much. Roll it, Tony.
Oscar goes to Jeffrey Perkins, Bill W. Benton, Greg Watkins, and Rusty Williams II for Dances with Wolves.
An incredible tribute considering the competition this year, all great films. I'd like to first thank Jim and Kevin for giving me the call, my posse, Mary Jo, Albert, and Daryl, and the great Lakota Sioux Nation for inspiring this film. God bless.
Ladies and gentlemen, with that's two Oscars and two Primetime Emmys on his resume, our first guest today brings a unique blend of experience and know-how from a 51-year-old career, both above and below the line in film and television industry. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome a gentleman I've known for a long, long time, Russell Williams II. Greetings, Russell, and welcome back again to the Actor's Choice. Man, oh man.
Pleasure, Ron. Good to see you as always, and happy to be the 401st guest. Well, you probably had more guests than shows, but on the 401st show.
Thank you. Tell us where you were born at.
Okay, I came on this planet in Washington, D.C., which I used to consider the center of the known universe.
Okay, all right. Let me take you to the year 1976.
Okay.
This is when you got your first job for it was called the Parallel Junction short film drama. Remember
that was an interesting film that ended up, all three of us, myself, I had graduated from American U, and the two other gentlemen that worked on that had come from Howard, and we were actually running through Rock Creek Park on a cold morning doing what we would refer to as a slave narrative. So that was probably my first freelance work, moving towards going to the big industry 3 years later.
Certainly what got you started from 1976. Let's go fast forward to 1989. You did a job with won an Academy Award for Best Achievement in Sound, a movie called Glory.
It was a project that I try to tell my students, the project that led to Glory was a low budget TV pilot that nobody ever saw. It was called Overnight Guest. But that unit manager remembered my work. And what folks need to remember in this business, wherever you start, the people that are working with you are working up their respective ladders. And so years later, he called me when he had moved up to be a really big unit manager and producer. And he said, we'd like you to meet the producer and the director because we think this project would be good for you. And they sent me the script by messenger. Motorcycle guy comes up, sign off a piece of paper, gives you the script. He gets on the motorcycle to take the script to the next person. And so that's how that journey began. I almost turned it down, but then it turned out, Ron, on the weekend, I read an article in the New York Times that talked, because he positioned it as a Civil War movie starring Matthew Broderick. When I read the article in the New York Times, it talked about a movie being cast that talked about the 54th Mass, and they had just signed Morgan Freeman and just signed Denzel Washington. I said, oh, what, that Civil War movie? I said, oh, I'll pay them to be on that.
Great work. It actually happened in 1989, ladies and gentlemen, and he got his award in 1990, just so you know.
Correct.
So you know. The year again, 1990, Dances with the Wolves. A second time, there you were. You, Kevin Costner, director, actor, Oh man, a film of adventure, drama, western, and you with the sound mixer.
Almost turned that one down because they actually shot the same calendar year. So I had been in Georgia almost 5 months doing the Civil War, and
Uh-huh.
then we were ended up in South Dakota doing what started in the Civil War and then went out to the Wild West. And I was thinking, wow, man, do I really want to be away from Los Angeles for an entire year, which is essentially how it turned out. But glad that I took it. And no one could have convinced me I was going to win a second Oscar, especially back to back.
Ladies and gentlemen, in 1991, Williams made history when he won another Academy Award for his contribution as a sound mixer for Dances with Wolves, making him the first African American multi-Academy Award winner. Blessed, sir. Blessed.
Much appreciated. And I think that even though I've told people that I may not have been the first African American who deserved a second Academy Award, but by the grace of God, I was given that position in history, and I will try to represent that achievement, to the best of my ability. Even though I know your show is called The Actor's Choice, I just want people to realize that you don't have to just be in front of the
Thank you.
camera
Thank
to
you.
win the
Exactly.
industry's highest tributes.
Mhm. Mhm. I always wonder what's more fun, Academy Awards or Oscar? Which one is more fun?
Oh, they're the same thing.
I understand. I understand.
The
We just
the
happen to have a clip of Dances with Wolves. Roll
Oh,
it,
okay. Okay.
Buffalo. Wow. Wow. You were getting
That
ready to say
was
something. Yes.
those bring back a lot of memories, and Kevin Costner really, I think he thought it through when he took on this as his first directorial project, because most of the things that we shot early on in the schedule were just him by himself, or him with the wolf, or him with his horse before, and to get into the feel of calling action and cut, working with our great cinematographer, Dean Simler. And then he slowly started bringing in the other cast members when he felt that, he had the reins in his hand. And it was a lot of work, but strangely enough for me, it was somewhat easy in that we didn't have any real sound that was inappropriate for the
Yes.
period of history we were recording, because we were out in the middle of nowhere
Gotcha.
with those 5,000 head of buffalo or whatever else. But a lot of times, like say, for instance, with movies like Glory or other things, when you're doing a period piece,
Mhm.
the sounds in the general environment are of the century that you're in. And so they would be inappropriate for the century that you're trying to create on film.
I just want to start early so people can see exactly who this gentleman is and what he has accomplished. He's a school teacher. He's been in how many schools you been working in over the years?
I would say at least seven. I got my first real job teaching at a university at UCLA,
Mhm.
thanks to a cinematographer buddy Johnny Simmons and a master teacher that's still over there, Howard Suber. And it was basically to take some time off from features, to be home most of the week with my then brand new daughter,
Mhm.
and you know work with some younger students in a sound documentary class. And then when my son came along 4 years later, I taught a class at USC. And then when the industry moved to Canada, say in the late 90s, I went back home to DC and became a full-time professor at American University, which is my alma mater, and have taught at several classes, several schools since then, presently just finishing up a semester at Cal State Northridge.
Okay. How do you define sound decisions?
Sound decisions, Mr. Brewington, are, I think, what too few directors and producers spend time on, because most people spend all of their time preparing what we see in a series or a feature-length film or even in a short film. and the decision-making process as to whether something that we see in the script that either the actors experience, the characters experiencing, right? Something in their environment that's described in the script. Again, the period of history. Are we present day? Are we going back 200 years? Are we going forward 200 years? Some of those decisions need to be made sooner than later. Do we record this on set? Do we make this as a sound effect? Do we go out and get track from people that are kind of milling around to give you the sonic reality that what you're seeing on screen actually is what you're experiencing? And too few productions actually think about how soon they should involve somebody in the location scouting, as an example, who goes to the location just to listen to see whether that location would be appropriate for what you're trying to create on screen. Are we under the flight path of LAX? Are we next to a cement mixing plant? Has anybody checked? And a lot of times the location people do this. What day is trash day? So you don't have all through the background of us trying to get an intimate scene with grandma and the little kid or whatever you're shooting. So to me, that decision-making process would include who's going to do the score, who's going to do the post-production, how much of the actual location sound do you want to keep? And to me, that was always the hallmark of my career because I had so much respect for the actors and the work that they do. Yes, I know we could come back and re-record that if we needed to, but why can't we preserve the performance while they're in the moment? When you come back to do your ADR, that actor is hopefully working on something else, and they have to get back into that character space that may have been months before. Why don't we do as much as we can to preserve the performance while they're in the moment?
I've often wondered how you do what you do when you're out there in the field. You're actually putting microphones in different places and absorbing, bringing the sound to one key spot. Is that what you're doing basically?
Ron, what we do, like the other department heads, when we watch, well, first of all, we've seen the script. So
Okay.
the script basically gives everyone a roadmap in their specific field. So what are these people wearing? What kind of props do they need? What is the set dressing going to look like? And where are these scenes taking place? So how many people are going to be on camera? So all of those things are part of what my team would have to decipher. So is that something we can accomplish with one microphone? Do we have to hide microphones? Do we have to put microphones on the actual actors? Which I would say in the two movies that I won an Academy Award for, there are no radio mics used at all in Dances with Wolves. And in Glory, there's only one scene where there's a radio mic working, and that's when Matthew Broderick is just about to start the battle, the final battle, okay, because he's on horseback and we're looking up at him from the ground. Today's production template is a lot different. For the most part, they're shooting with several cameras at the same time, and it's almost impossible unless you have a director who really is sensitive to the needs of sound that will allow you to work with a boom. Most people, they put a mic on every actor and they send them the set and then they sort it out in post-production. So I'm not sure if it's more challenging the way I did it versus what's happening now, but the idea is to try to get a clean track on each actor, regardless of what the width or the size of the frame is. And hopefully that you don't have to bring them back, except, and this is something that a lot of people don't think about, a lot of times actors come back to ADR, not because the location sound was necessarily unusable, but because the director wants a different inflection on the line reading.
Okay. We got
They
just a
want
few.
them to go up when they
Yes.
say, well, hello, how are you? As opposed to hello, how are you? Right. And I had a couple directors who were actually sensitive enough to the topic that I said, okay, right before you say cut, print, moving on, the take that you like the best, turn away from the video monitor and just listen to the performance. Because my theory and my template operationally was it's still has to work as radio. All those dialogue readings and still need to work as radio. Do you believe it as just a radio performance? Forget the visual. And if it sounds emotional, if it sounds dramatic, if it sounds comedic, whatever point that director wants in that scene, if it sounds right, just listening to it, it's probably also working visually.
Okay, we got just a few minutes. Can you tell me about radio workshop?
I did a radio workshop at American University. I was a co-founder. It was called Spirits Known and Unknown. And that was really my first contact with professional audio gear. It was a training program for people who wanted to learn how to write news and people who wanted to learn how to operate the consoles. And so that was really my introduction to critical listening beyond, being a trained musician. But that prepared me for the on-ramp to big show business, which that really started as a kid watching movies. I tell my students these days, in my generation, In the Heat of the Night, not the TV series, but the feature film with Rod Steiger and Sidney Poitier, that was our Black Panther. And more important for me, not only the great performances, but there was a name on the credits I was familiar with. There was a gentleman named Quincy Jones who did the score. And I said, wait a minute, the African Americans working behind camera? Oh, okay. So that was another wake-up call for me as a young teenager in DC.
We got to get you back again and get some more. Oh, yeah, there is one thing we'd like everybody to take a look at. Can you hit that number 13 for me? Ah, look at that. A history maker.
And one of the early group.
Yes.
I still have most of that hair, but if you come back here, you'll see you can land a helicopter back there.
Russell, it's always a pleasure having you as a guest. You bring a lot of passion about sharing your knowledge and expertise that folks can learn from. Please
I
take
appreciate
care.
you, Ron.
Best wishes, and come back again, please.
When you give me the invite, sir.
Okay, back at you. Thank you.
Thank you, my brother.
Ladies and gentlemen, Russell Williams II. This is the Actor's Choice. I'm your host, Ron Brewington. Roll it, Tony. We would like to let you know that we're asking the Actor's Choice Squad to help us get former baseball player Curt Flood into the Baseball Hall of Fame. Now, Curt, who passed away January 20th, 1997, was the husband of one of our wonderful guests, renowned actress Judy Pace. I saw Judy over the weekend, so she's still looking GOOD. Please contact the office at 213-349-3941. That's 213-349-3941. Ladies and gentlemen, we sincerely thank each and every one of you for being a part of this magnificent award for a great baseball player. Roll it, Tony. Ladies and gentlemen, our next guest today wears many hats. He's a director of the MFA program in dramatic writing. He's a professor of dramatic writing, associate dean of strategic initiatives, and associate dean of faculty at the USC School of Dramatic Arts. And oh, by the way, this gentleman is author of more than 35 plays. As we say in the business, not bad. It's not bad at all. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Oliver Mayer. Oliver, thank you so much for coming to us. First question, where were you born, sir?
First off, hi, Ron.
How you doing?
I'm doing great, doing fantastic. I'm proudly born in Hollywood, California. So I'm local, and I lived much of my early days in the San Fernando Valley, North Hollywood, California.
Oh. So you were born in Hollywood, had a chance to rub all in the Hollywoods. So by the time you stepped up to Hollywood, you said, well, that's Hollywood. You just like one of the guys. We all hanging out together.
It's
Mercy.
kind of true when you go to a supermarket, you can tell who's local and who isn't because when you see a celebrity, they're still buying their milk, aren't they? They're
Thank you.
still getting their cat food
Thank
and you
you.
leave them alone. And
Thank you.
you see the people who don't, and you know, oh, they're not from here.
Right. Oh yeah. We have an expression. Some people call it ego. I call it ego. We see that a lot. We see that a lot. So what got you started in this business?
I really owe it to my mother, who is 89 years old, and she loves the theater even more than I do, and I've spent my life in it, but my mother really loves it. Now, my father was also very artistic, and both of them they didn't stop me when I had artistic impulses, and so I'm very grateful to them. And I may be the only person that you've ever talked to whose mother wanted them to be an actor. She wanted me to do it. She wanted because I was shy. I was had pimples. I was getting in fights, and she said, "Go into the theater." And you know what? It actually did. It tamed me, and it gave me a couple moves, and I learned how to speak better
Mhm.
and maybe present myself better too.
You're doing a good job. Doing a good job, Al. No problem at all. Here's a question. What's it like becoming a playwright versus a writer?
Oh, it's a good question. A playwright, by nature, is interested in collaborating with others, and that even includes the audience. So, a playwright is a writer like any other writer, and it starts with the writer. It starts with us. We put the words down, put the images down, put the feelings down, put the memories down, put the history down. But when you're a dramatist, when you're a playwright, you then are asking people to come and join you and to create a world together. And I think in order to be a playwright as long as I have been, which is now almost 40 years, you have to learn to basically just kind of say yes and let people have fun together. And I learned pretty early on not to worry so much if someone dropped a comma or added a word or something like that, because it's not as important as us all being together and kind of believing, having faith. I think you know what I'm talking about. When you got the faith, and other people get the faith too.
Indeed. Indeed. A couple of things that you did along as I was doing some research, I found that you had a work that you did, Blade to the Heat. Another one was Midnight Edge. This is work you did early on. Early on. Yeah.
Blade to the Heat was the play that really opened everything up for me. When I was a teenager in the Valley, I was a
Uh-huh.
boxer. I boxed for about 3.5 years, broke my nose one way and then broke it the other way, came out pretty straight.
Gotcha.
Um, but I was a pretty defensive fighter. I was good. I was well trained. But I learned a great deal about the boxing game and a little bit from the inside. And then when I had an idea as a playwright, I was middle of those terrible years, the AIDS years, and I was thinking about being young and being in danger. And I thought about my boxing years. I realized just how dangerous those years were, but in another way, how sexy, how wild, how boxing is a kind of metaphor in so many ways for coming of age. And I was able to tell a story that was just brimming with sexuality, with music. And it was really about folks. It was about African Americans and Latinos together, which is what I'm continue to do in my work. And and people really did react. And you know, all these years later, when we see that play, it's still pretty provocative.
Yes. Yes. All right. We you came here today to speak about something called Ghost Waltz.
We did.
Yes.
Ghost Waltz opened this last weekend at the Los Angeles Theater Center down on Fifth and Spring, downtown
Uh-huh.
LA. And this is a world premiere of a commission. I received this commission from the Latino Theater Company 2 years ago, and they gave me this idea. Um, and I can tell you a little bit about it, but it was a life changer. And I realized pretty early on because I had a dream.
Mm-hmm.
The I really did have a dream. The real person's name is Juventino Rosas. I don't know who is going to remember that name, but if I played you a piece of music right now, you'd say, "Oh yeah, the one from the circus. Oh yeah,
Yeah.
from the cartoons." Or I danced to that. I mean, everybody knows the piece of music that this young man created in the 1890s, but nobody seems to remember who he is. So when I found out, when I got the opportunity to write this story, I wasn't as keen on it until I had a dream. And he came to me in a dream. I saw this young man, and he was trying to dance the waltz, and I saw the world all around him, almost like surging waves. And he was from Mexico, so I saw him in kind of cotton, and he was wearing huaraches, which are real comfortable sandal kind of shoes. And I got up and I wrote a page of dialogue. And then when my wife got up, I read it to her, and she said, "Oh, I think you got to do this play now." So I've been working on it now. It's 2 years since we first started, and I realized I just cannot mess this one up. This young man deserves to be remembered. He's not alone, but boy,
Hmm.
he's certainly one of the people who deserves to be remembered, and no one's going to forget him anymore.
Wow. Ghost Waltz. How'd you make that name up?
I got lucky with that one. This play, the Sobre las Olas was Sobre las Olas, Over the Waves was the name of the original song.
Wow.
And it was so it was a waltz. It was in a 1, 2, 3. And maybe the most famous waltz you ever heard, aside from maybe the Blue Danube, right up there with the most famous ever. But we're talking a long time ago. And all those people, like our ancestors too, have passed. So, in a certain way, when you hear music like this, maybe you're hearing a little bit of the ghosts of those people. They come back
Right.
alive, don't they, when you listen to the music?
Mm.
So, I was very aware of the ghost metaphor and in this waltz. And then
Yes.
I decided to really open it up in a certain way to talk about how all our ancestors are watching us. And that's important for us to get to work, important for us to remember that we're part of a continuum. And also, every time we remember someone who's passed, they come back to life a little, don't they? I think
Yes.
they do.
Yes, they do. Aldo, what excites you the most about this play?
The most about this play is to connect with an audience. We're finding our audience now. I originally wanted to be young people, but now I realize that young people in spirit, no matter the age, you and I can fit as young people because I can see right now how young you are, Ron. And I feel that it's so much about
I'll
being
send you some
just
money. Thank you.
uh, it's open-hearted, open-minded,
Oh,
ready to
God.
receive, ready to have fun, ready to party,
Yes.
ready to listen, um, ready to maybe respond. There's moments in the play where we ask the audience to respond because they know this music and they sing along. And that is the most beautiful thing I've ever seen.
Wow.
And the idea that we're doing this together, we're recovering a life. And like I say, there's so many lives that deserve recovery because as even though we may live in the greatest country in the world, we know this is one of the injustices that have occurred, depending on color, depending on station,
Mhm.
depending on some other stuff we could talk about. Um, some people have not gotten their due, have they? But here we are, 2024. It's about time to get this right.
Yeah. I understand that you like to mix music, drama, passion, spirituality, and dance, death, and redeath in your plays. Is that correct?
It is. It is. I believe in the total package. They call it total theater. For me,
Yes.
you got to have a little bit of romance. You got to have some good looking people up there. You got to have a
Yes.
little threat of violence, maybe a little bit of dancing, definitely a little bit of the threat of death, impending doom. And you want to try to have it all at play all the way to the end, all the way down to the last page, because I don't want people to know what's coming until it's over.
Gotcha.
So I believe in that, and I do think music is the fastest and best way to connect with other people because when you listen to music and good music in particular, you're feeling it first before you think about it. Anybody who's thinking about music as it's happening, well, maybe some jazz person because they can count or whatever, but I think most of us we just get taken by the music. The music takes us places. We surf it. And I believe that should be part of the theater, that the theater should have live music in it because music takes us emotional places, and then we can start and we can kind of go further than we would have gone otherwise. And that's the whole way the Ghost Waltz works. So people are going to come out to see, because you're going to see top flight musicians. The lead character is a virtuoso violinist named Quetzal Guerrero. I mean, he's world class. The soprano, one of the two love interests, she lives in Vienna. She's a Dominican indigenous woman named Natalie Peña Comas. She's gorgeous too and sings like a dream. And then we have Scott Joplin. Some people know who that is in the audience right now. Scott Joplin, the greatest of the ragtime pianists, played by Ricky Pajot. And Ricky is a Steinway pianist. That means wherever he goes, Steinway sends a piano with him. He is Madonna's pianist and he is Christina Aguilera's pianist. And he opened a show with us this weekend when he could have been down in Rio with Madonna in front of 1.6 million people. She wanted him, but he stayed here to play Scott Joplin with us.
Now, we got a couple of photos here that we'd like to show, but we opened up with a video. We want people to see what it looks like on it. There's one. There you go. There's one.
That's nice.
Mm-hmm. Can you go to the next one, Teddy? There you go. Okay. All right.
That's nice. Yeah, it's nice.
Oh, that's nice. Oh, look at that. Look at that. Look at that. Oof. That is beautiful. Beautiful.
It's a real pretty show. I recommend I mean, I want Ron to see it right off the bat, but I want everybody to see it because the design team did such a beautiful job. The theater itself is historic. It was a bank over 100 years ago, and it was turned into a theater in the 1980s. And it's had this wonderful life. And talk about life, death, and rebirth. It really has. And we're back up running. My play opened the spring season, on I think it's on Saturday. American Mariachi opens next door to us, which is a really fun play, also full of music. And then the week after that, there's a play called Mix Mix by Bonnie Alvarez that opens. So that what's really cool about this is that you all meet up in the lobby, you get your tickets, you get your drink, you start talking, and then if it's time to go to the theater, it's like, well, where are you going? I'm seeing this one. No, I'm seeing this one. Well, and then you meet up later, and you're like, well, how'd you like it? And then maybe, hey, come and see mine next time, or boy, I wish I was with you, or let's go see them all. And that's the whole idea.
How do I get tickets?
Oh, you just come through the latinotheater.org and you can set it up on the web right there. And it's really, really, really easy. Just look for Ghost Waltz by Oliver Mayer at the Latino Theater Company.
Okay. Now, we showed everybody a picture where you can park your car at. Parking is very easy. It's right next door to the building.
That's true.
That's the New York, that's the Los Angeles Theater. Been there for a long, long time. Anything else you want to say, sir?
Well, I'm just grateful for you. I love to be able to talk to somebody who really loves the theater and really understands who we are.
Yeah.
And also loves music. I know you love Marvin Gaye. I show the world. I got Marvin Gaye on my desk right here with me. Look at that. That's Marvin right there.
Look at that.
Good too.
Nice.
And I know anybody who loves Marvin like you has got to be, got to have a lot of soul.
Right. Up on the wall back there, we got it. It took me 16 years to get him a stamp. It's up on the wall there. And we also got a star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame for him. So, hey.
We're grateful to you.
We love it. Alvin, thank you so much for being here today. You're the guy who writes the plays so that the actors can break a leg. I want to thank your publicist. You know her, Lucy Pollock. That lady is something else. She's, as we say, you always got to have a publicist. And you got a good one, as you well know. Okay. Thank you, Alvin.
Thank you, Ron.
Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, Oliver Mayer. Okay. This is the Actor's Choice. I'm Ron Brewington. Roll it, Tony.
She's here because of you.
Ron.
You're the reason she fell in love with politics. You're the reason she came to D.C., the reason she became a congressional intern. And she's doing so well. I'm so proud. If you could see how hard she works, how smart she is, you'd be proud. Have someone like Alicia following in your footsteps. Something happened. She hasn't called me in a week, and it's not like her. Something's wrong. I know it in my gut.
Ladies and gentlemen, my next guest today is the firstborn of his Panamanian family in the United States. He had a love for acting as he gained more and more experience. This gentleman now resides in Los Angeles with his family. He's been in many, many commercials, TV shows, and movies. He's a busy guy. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome actor Rolando Boyce. Greetings, Rolando, and welcome to the Actor's Choice.
Appreciate it. Thank you. Thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
And I'm going to say one thing up front while I'm still thinking about it. You are a busy man, and I do some research about things before we get into it. Rolando, let me tell you something about what I saw when I read the IMDb record. I can see that you are been working in this business since 2004. That was your first job. And ladies and gentlemen, the movie was called Under the City. It was a crime and thriller, and you got the role of Reggie. But I noticed that every year since 2004, you have worked. You have got a job.
Is that wow? I didn't realize that either. I mean, that was the beginning of like TV and film, but I had started on the stage, in theater, like in maybe I think it was either 96 or 97. So I think ever since then, there's always been something. It's always been something. But I appreciate that, Ron. That's love, man.
Congratulations. They say in the industry, not bad. Not bad. Wow. I also noted something else, that you got 34 TV series out of 60. You like to do the TV series. And there's a reason why you do it. You can come and do a show and get paid and get out of here.
That's right. That's right. That's right.
You got to stick around for a long time. Do my role and get out. And get out. And I'll say this because you and I have met each other before, but I want to let you know that in this show, I have sometimes have to say to people that come into this business, they come all over from everywhere. I want to be a star. Wait, as one guy told me, he said, a star is rats spelled backwards. I said, okay, I'll take to that one. But they come here. They take television. They do film. But they don't get up on that stage.
That's right. Yeah.
They don't. Yeah. What it means.
I don't know. I don't know. You know, I think for me personally, I can't speak for everyone, but for me, when I knew I wanted to pursue or at least give it a try in this business, most of the actors I admired were stage actors. So I didn't even think about TV and film in the beginning. I figured if I could do it, I wanted to get on stage and do theater. And if I could do that, then, you know, hopefully I can transition into TV and film. So, you know, it was definitely, I mean, I did theater like you brought up in 2004, but I did theater from maybe 97 on to maybe 2006.
Yes.
And I still go back and forth into theater when I can and when the time permits and if the play is good enough, but you know, that's always going to be my first love, first home.
Got you. I understand that you attended Texas Southern University, and it says call for duty to an Army reservist at the Desert Storm. Sir, all I have to say once again, thank you for your service.
I appreciate it.
Say that when you put that uniform on, it gets me down.
Yeah.
I wore the Navy uniform for 22 years.
Hey, thank you for your service.
Indeed. And what made me a little bit mad over the weekend, I'm watching these people out here picketing and, you know, what they're doing. They're giving speeches, and that's fine. I got no problem with that. Right. But when I saw them over at a couple of colleges pulling down the red, white, and blue.
Yeah, no.
So no. You don't like it here in America? Get out.
That's right. Exactly. That's right.
It really makes me mad. Because you and I, anytime you wear a uniform, and I'll say this because a lot of people know this, when you wear a uniform, be prepared to die. That's basically what it is.
That's basically what it was.
Straight up.
That's exactly what it was. And I don't know, I'm sure you joined. I joined as a young man. And I think I was either 18, 19 years old. And I was in Desert Storm when I was 20 years old. And that was what I was looking at. I didn't know if I was going to make it back or not.
Yes.
But I had to go over there and do my part, do my job.
Wow. But when I saw that, I didn't like that at all.
Yeah,
I didn't like that at all. Wow. We have, let me see. The year
you said you were in the Navy? You were in the
Navy.
Wow.
Did
you go over
Vietnam?
regular? Or you did Vietnam?
Now, I was in the Navy at that time. My job was teaching people how to fly airplanes, but I wasn't. I didn't go overseas. But our job was to to make them earn what they learned here and then take it overseas. No, but
Wow.
I wore the uniform during Vietnam time. Yes,
Wow. Enlisted or officer?
I was an enlisted.
All right.
I
You
was an
work for a
EA.
living.
I was a senior chief.
Okay.
Senior chief.
I'm sorry. I had to ask that.
Wow. Wow. 2004, like we said, Under the City. That was one of your jobs. Well, the next one you did was in 19. You got a hold of one job that you had called The Chai. Remember The Chai?
That's right. The Shy. That's right.
The Chai. Tell us about The Chai, please, sir.
The Shy it's an incredible coming of age story about takes place in the south side of Chicago about doesn't it's just a community of people, and it's about life, and it covers so many different characters. You have the young people who are, the story began with them in school and their
Yes.
growth, and I had a more middle age 20s and early 20s, and getting through their life, dealing with the relationships, crime. It's just so many different things, but it shows the growth of how people can grow, how people deal with tragedies.
Mm-hmm.
It's such a real story, and I'm from Chicago.
Yes.
And when I saw the first season, I thought, wow, that's an incredible show. Man, I got to figure out a way to get on that show. And I mean, I never really have ever done that before. But I think I wheeled myself onto that show so by the time the second season came around, and I had to audition for the character I played, Darnell.
Tell us about that. Yes, that Darnell guy. Who is
he? Yeah. He's he's an interesting character. He plays the father of Emmett, who is one of the main characters.
Mm-hmm.
And when he was introduced in season 2, he was kind of like they didn't really have a relationship. It was separate. He was raised by a single mom, and my character only really did sort of a financial support. But his mom put him out in season 2, and he came to live with me, and from there, the relationship, there was friction, but then was trying to rebuild, which that happens so much in life where
yes.
Fathers aren't in sons' lives, and they try to come together, and it can be difficult, very hard. But I love that the writers, Lena and her writing staff, they wrote it to where they were able to reconcile and learn to come together. And now, as we're going into our 6th season, they have a relationship. They have a very good friendship, and it's a beautiful thing. It's a really beautiful thing.
So, how do you compare and/or differs from your character, Darnell?
Oh, man, well, I think I could say how I compare.
Okay.
Darnell is a very old school guy, and I know I might not be as old school as he is, with the the big earpiece and and things like that. But I mean, he does like still stereo, and a lot of still probably uses VCR. But I am very old school. I can't get on too many new devices and figure it out. And I still love my old. I can listen to some Earth, Wind and Fires with Commodores, and you can't take that away from me. So yeah, and I think also how we are alike is that he really cares about his family. I truly care about my family and family values and things like that. So,
gotcha.
It's a great thing, but
yes,
he's definitely different from me.
Definitely. Tell us about your fitness goals. We're gonna come back to
I take as I prepare in acting, and this is one of the things I learned early on. I was working at Black Ensemble Theater in Chicago,
Mhm.
is that you have to be prepared mentally, physically, and spiritually. So I always try to prepare myself and stay in shape. And I'm not, I'm not preparing for a Marvel movie to play a superhero, but I try to, you and I both were in a service. The everyday calisthenics that we did in the service, I try to still do those things. I run, I'll do some push-ups, I'll do some sit-ups. That's good enough for me. I just feel like if I can continue to keep doing that, it keeps me feeling good. It keeps me just, in fact, I just ran 5 miles, just before we did this. So it's just part of my life. And I
Thank you.
feel, being out here in Los Angeles, being able to be outside is just very, it's soothing, it's therapeutic. So I love it.
Yes. Balancing your family life with your Hollywood career. How do you do that?
Day to day, day to day. It could be tough. I mean, we have me and my wife. We have two beautiful girls, and they're in school, so we have to deal with the picking up and the dropping off, and it's more difficult when I have to leave. We shoot the Shy in Chicago, so when I'm
Yes.
gone, it puts a lot of pressure on my wife, and but when I'm not shooting, I try to be here. And kids grow up. I have two older kids as well, and in their 30s, and they grow up so fast. So if you're not involved or around in their lives in the day to day, it'll pass you by. So yeah, you got to be there, man. You got to be there.
Okay. Well, Rolando, spring has sprung, and hot shows are returning back from hiatus. The season
Yeah,
premiere of The Chai on Showtime Paramount returns this coming Friday, May the 10th.
that's right, man.
And you are the audience favorite.
Well, I don't know about that, but I'll take it. I'll take it. Your words, I'll take it. It's out there now.
I mean, you had 32 episodes between 219 and 220,
Yeah,
223.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
That's true. Yeah, it's
Laughing
gonna
all the
be.
way to the bank.
All
Oh, truth
right.
is there. Truth is out there.
I love you, brother. Yeah,
Uh,
it's gonna be a great. This season's gonna be hot, man. It's gonna
okay.
be really, really hot. Oh man, I can't give nothing away, but it's gonna be worth the watch. It's gonna be worth the watch.
You can't give nothing away.
I
They gave us a trailer to give away in five.
know.
Tony, are you ready? In three, two, one.
Hey,
Boy.
Shy fam.
Ready for new episodes?
The official trailer starts now. We gotta stop stressing and live our lives.
There's always calm before the storm.
Everybody get down! Imagine that.
You playing with fire.
I'm trying to protect us.
The only way to do that is to settle your debt with Duda.
Whoever tries to kill me and fails, they need to die.
Alicia hates Duda as much as he hates.
There it is.
All right.
How much of you is in that movie?
In the trailer, it's just little clips of I'm in some of those, but I'm in every episode this for this season. So yeah, it's gonna be nice, man.
Wow. Indeed. Well, spring is here. Oh,
Yes,
it's
sir.
gone. Summer's coming.
That's right. That's right.
Roles you like to play?
What roles would I like to play?
Yes.
No, I don't really have anything that's specific. I like to, as you could see from my IMDb, I just like to work. I like to see what the universe brings my way,
Yes.
and if it's a challenge to me, that's even better. But I'm not specific. I love to work.
Gotcha. And finally, what do you see in the future?
For myself,
Yes, sir.
um, continue to work as an actor, continue to help others. You know, a lot of times I have, you know, people come up to me and asking me how to begin, how to start, and you know, and it is about putting in that work. Like you said, I think you said earlier on, you were like, a lot of people say they want to be a star, or you know, and it's not about being a star. It's about working. You know, if you come in looking to be a star, two things going to happen. You're not. It may not happen, and if it does happen for you, and you haven't put in the work, it's not going to last long. So I think it's about learning the craft and just being good at what you do.
All right. Rolando, thank you, thank you, thank you, sir. So nice having you here today, and continued success in what you're doing. All right.
You as well, Ryan. Thank you. I
Thank you, sir.
appreciate you, brother.
And thanks to your publicist, Lisa Humphrey. We'd love to have you back again. Okay.
Most definitely. Most definitely. Thank you. All right, brother.
Thank you. Take care. Ladies and gentlemen, Rolando Boyce. I want to thank our sponsors, Harvey Brandman Photography as an Art, Ron Irwin's Lose Weight, Larry Buford, Book to the Future, Time Travel, Message in a Capsule, State Farm agent Carla Green, and veteran actor Rob Brownstein's actor training facility and Actor Space. Much thanks to our guests today, ladies and gentlemen. Sound department, producer, good friend, actor Russell Williams II. Playwright Oliver Mayer, and actor you just saw him, and actor Rolando Boyce. The Actor's Choice is a presentation of B&B Productions. Rudolph Brewington is the president, and Sidney Chandler is our executive producer. Special thanks to our ever-growing audience. I'm Ron Brewington. Be well, and we'll see you next time.